Hello everyone, welcome to Grace Miracle Arena. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and thank you so much for being a part of this series. This series is called Jesus is Real, and let me just share with you how I came about this name. I was at a point in my life where I just felt like I wanted to just give up on some things. I just think that life was so hard for me because I was going through a lot, and I remember my pain and things that I'll go through, that it was from, a younger age. And I mean life got so, overbearing, where I felt as if it just wasn't working for me, and I was so discouraged. And I remember when I wanted to give up, I wanted to step away from a lot of things. I remember the Lord said to me that I want you to use your life, your encounters, your experiences to tell people that Jesus is real. And when I got that message, that thing hit me. And recently the Lord brought it back. He brought it back strong in my spirit, saying it is time. So with me doing this series, it is not of me just wanting to come on here and tell you things and talk about my life story. If anyone that is close to me knows me, they know that I can be very secretive. I don't really like to share much. But because I know that this is an assignment from the Lord, I have to go for it. The Lord also placed strongly in my spirit that a lot of unbelievers gonna believe after these videos. Even people who said that they're atheists, they're gonna rethink. People, the supernatural is going to be unlocked in a lot of people. The prophetic going to be unlocked, because many of you are going through similar things, similar situations, and you cannot understand why your life is like this. Why is it that you are going through hurt and pain? Sometimes you feel like what you are going through, those that are around you are not going through what you have been through or what you are currently going through. You are the people that I'm doing this video for. Also the ones that are losing faith. You are losing faith and hope that this gospel of Jesus Christ is real. Some of you grow up in the church, but something happened that it messed with your faith. You might lose someone, or a relationship that the Lord has promised you might broke up. It might, that relationship might finish, or that marriage, you might go through a broken marriage, or you might lose a child, or you might have children and they're gone astray, gone on another part. You are the people that I come to, that the Lord wants to speak to, for you to know that Jesus Christ is real. Hallelujah. Now, you might say, woman of God, why didn't you put this in a book? Because it is good to have books. In fact, having a book is something that I desire, and is something that I'm also called to, and I am going to put it in a book. But outside of that, my main thing, my main desire, my main mandate on earth is to do the will of the Lord. And the Lord, this is how he would have me do this, to document this by videos. Let me say this, this is why many of us, we kind of miss it, but we don't realize. Because what we do, and I see this often in the body of Christ, where because we see someone doing something, we feel like all of us should be doing that very thing, that same thing, which that is not how it's supposed to be. God called all of us individually different, unique. We might have similarities, but we all are different, and we have different roads and different journeys that the Lord will send us on and send us to. Now, in order for you to be effective as a minister or effective as someone who God has called you, whatever it is that God has called you to, you have to be authentic. You have to be a blueprint and not a photocopy. Not to do something because you see someone else doing it and it looks good, or because it is now the in thing or the new thing. No, I'm not bashing people who are doing similar things. I'm not bashing people who write books. Never that. I myself, I want to have my book as well, but I'm talking about the assignment and what God has given you to do and what God said. Now, if God said to you, I want for you to go in the bus and I want you to minister to my people, but you might see someone on the platform, say them maybe they are preaching on TikTok, they're doing other things. Not that you cannot go and preach on TikTok, for example, but it cannot be your main thing, because that's not what the Lord called you to, or that's not your assignment. Your assignment is what God has given to you to do. So I say that to say this. Many people will think, why, woman of God, why didn't you put this in a book? This is what the Lord said. This is how the Lord wants for me to document this. I don't know why. I'm just being obedient. So these messages is going to be on Instagram, it's going to be on YouTube, and it's also going to be on TikTok. Now, I can understand why the Lord would say do it this way and not live but through videos, is that it can be documented. It can be something that people will go and watch. Because let me tell you something, sometimes it's good to have books, but sometimes people finances are not really in place, and sometimes even if it is there, not everybody wants to really spend money. So sometimes too, we have to use wisdom with what we do. I think that is some of the a part of what I get from my understanding so far, and I'm like, wow, this makes sense, because doing it like this, people will be able to engage. They don't have to wait to purchase anything, but they can just go straight to the video, click on it, and watch it to the glory of God. Like I said, I'm repeating myself, I am going to put this into a book, because I'm still not going to say everything, because there are some things that the Lord will allow me to say and some things that I cannot say. I can't say everything. I have to say what the Lord allows me to say, right? So I just want to for you guys to understand the reason why I am coming like this. I am just being obedient to the Lord. Now, this is part 1 of the series, Jesus is Real. Now, people of God, when I just born, and my mom would tell me this story that she had a rough time with me, during pregnancy and so on, right? After I was born, for some reason, my mom had to rush me to the hospital, and while being at the hospital, I had to stay there for some time. And while I was in there, I got sick. Like, I got another sickness put on, what I was there for. Sorry about the noise in my background. On top of the reason for me being there, I contracted a sickness while being at the hospital, which was crazy, because you might think that this is the hospital, I go there to get help. Why is that so? Well, when I was born, my my mom would tell me this story, that because I was a pretty baby, I was a pretty baby, so everyone wanted to come and hold me and touch me, and everyone wanted to come and do that. So it seemed apparently that someone wasn't hands wasn't as clean, and they hold me, and I got sick. No, people of God, the sickness that I got was typhoid fever. Typhoid fever. And if anybody know about typhoid fever, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. You know that that is not a pretty sickness. Typhoid fever is something that you can die from. And imagine me having that as a baby. I was young. I was just a few months old when I contracted this disease, or this sickness. And I was there roasting with fever, so much where the doctors had to lock me away, because that this sickness, it is contagious, it can be passed on to others and so on. And I think they locked me away. I can't remember if my mom said it was a room by myself or something like that. And they would bathe me in cold water and so, because that's a really high fever. But it was that bad where they had to lock me away from people. And people of God, this sickness got so bad, typhoid fever got so bad, that I almost died in the hospital. The doctors told my mom that it was 50-50 chance of me living. 50-50 chance of me living. Now, can you just imagine the devil trying to kill me at such young age? As soon as I was born, remember I told you, I was sick before going in the hospital, and while I was in the hospital, because the devil decided that, listen, it doesn't matter what, I am taking your life. You are not supposed to live. You are not supposed to complete this purpose that the Lord have for you. But Jesus said no. Jesus said no. When the devil said yes, Jesus said no. And I'm telling you, I was there. And the doctors told my mom, just imagine how my mother felt when she heard that. She felt as if she was going to lose me. She felt as if I was just going to die. And people of God, I didn't leave that hospital until I was almost 1 year old. I believe my mom said, I think 8-9 months. So I am telling you that when you are born for a purpose, the plan of the enemy is to always try to take you out. Some of you will notice, some of you who have a certain call, that God has called you to the prophetic or to the supernatural. You notice that you get some form of fight, like when you were born, when you were younger. Some of you don't understand why is it that you struggle so much, and your mother was struggling so much with you. Some of you, they even wanted to abort you, things like that. Even when you're born, you were struggling. Your mom was, it's because. Okay guys, this is the end of part 1. Stay tuned for part 2.